we're not going to delay this any further. Frankie, you are up with charts. It's time.
All right, I have to follow Am. Well, you guys, gals, have fun. Am, I know I always tell people, that I don't know what's going on in there, but I know you're getting good work done and having a good time doing it, and I'm pretty confident in saying that.
Yes, we always do.
So I can imagine. All right. Well, a little tougher week, right, with the kind of back and forthy nature of this market, but there's always some things out there that kind of catch your eye. So maybe I will start with AME today, Greg. AIM Tech got a little breakout maybe happening here today, depending on how you want to view it. I like to see it. We've been very sideways. These guys aren't a huge mover, right? They're kind of one of those somewhere maybe in the middle between a position trader and a swing trader's kind of cup of tea, right? So I would imagine there will be some traders out there who don't like that characteristic, and I would understand that argument. If you're not one of them, one thing I like about it is we are in the industrial space, which is kind of leading, or one of the leading areas in the market. Clear skies above us, no overhead. We've started to see, even before today's break, a little bit of separation on the 9 and the 20 as it's just stuck in that range forever. So this would just be a boring little breakout play. Could probably look at something from a stop loss a little bit below today's low / the 90 MA. I would call today's candle as it sits right now confirmation. If we could break above that high on Monday, I would confirm this as a breakout personally. Where's the rest of the crew's thoughts, though?
Greg, you first.
I actually love this chart, and I think it's all in the way you play this too. So I love the breakout of a triple top here. So boom, boom, boom. We hit 3 times, strong into this last one there. So I really like that. Because it's not a fast mover, I think this is where you've got to set up the right trade. Whether you maybe do a diagonal spread, maybe you do a longer term bull call. I don't know what the options are like. I haven't looked at it. If you're just trading the stock, that's fine because there's no time component to it. But if you happen to be doing this with options because it is a higher dollar stock, you got to make sure that you're going to give yourself enough time to reach the targets that you set and not get hurt by the time decay. So I love the setup. I think that you just have to set the actual trade up in the right manner. That's how I see it. But love the chart.
Options are tricky on this one. They're okay. Theoretically possible you could play them. There's not a lot of great options on it though. The 175-day September has a $1 spread on a $7 option, but theoretically possible. Probably going to avoid the option. You do it stock here, I would guess.
When in doubt, I firmly believe you don't mess around with the options. You don't want to get stuck in an illiquid option, right?
Code is no longer here, but the biggest complaint any Canadian trader has, they don't get those free stock commissions like we do here in the US, right, Greg?
No, we don't.
So that's
we're still getting our pockets pulled out. So
that's a legitimate legitimate complaint. Nice.
I'll add to this one here just one quick thing. Look at the weekly. I like it better even on the weekly. I see it on the daily. It's a great consolidation there, overlapping candles, kind of chopping. On his weekly, we were catching up to moving averages with this consolidation over the last little bit. Now we're breaking into that new high, Frank. It's a legitimate breakout here for a stock trade.
So I thought so, and I like the movement. I like the space. We don't have to take an in-depth look. You're seeing other breakouts in like OTIS, in the space. Night transportation, KNX breaking out here today. So you're seeing a lot of this type of action over in some of those industrial places. Honeywell that isn't very clean on a breakout, but I think it's trying to do so. So there is some. It doesn't have to be any of these names that I brought up, but I am definitely seeing some nice breakouts in that industrial space coming into next week.
Yep, I'm with you.
And we lost Cody. One more, and I brought this one up on TradeMasters, and I think it might be my favorite breakout candidate of the industrial bunch, and it hasn't broken out yet, and that's CARR. Carrier Global, just a triple top, much like our friends at AME, a little. I don't know, less chop maybe in the recent days, right? But a very clear top. Again, it's going to be one of those, Tim, where if you go in and look at the weekly chart, it might stand out a little bit more or less. Nice long trading range. I still like a breakout here. Obviously, we have not got that yet. I like the last couple of days of price action though. I like that we pulled back into that 9 and at least have established a little bit of support. So I'm still putting these guys on my breakout list going into next week.
I
Thoughts?
love this one.
You like this one, Em?
I like this one better.
What do you like about this one?
Well, I like to keep things simple. I look at the picture and the picture makes more sense to me. When it's too choppy, I'm like, nah. But this, you can clearly see, the resistance. You can see where support held. It still has not broken resistance yet, so you can still plan and time it. I just love the simplicity of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think this one's better. It's a lower dollar stock, so you can get into it. It's got more liquidity than the first one we looked at as well. Like you got a couple million shares being traded here today. The other one only had about 315,000, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I like this breakout of a round number there as well, right? Get above that high. Yeah, it's pretty. All the moving averages are stacked the way they should be. Yeah, I have no issue with this whatsoever. It is building up a little bit of energy by getting that little 6-day sideways chop there. And a nice pick here, Frank. Good job.
Thank you. And on a targeting on something like this, and I don't know if this is what you guys do or not, but this is one of the easiest things to target to me because we've got such a consistent $6 range that we've been trading in since November. So I would expect that a $6 run past that breakout, if we get it, would be a reasonable expectation. So whether it's a first or a second target, that puts us at $48. I kind of think that $48 to $50 is kind of the general target zone, but I like to use that range to set up the target in these long sideways type of patterns. That's how I've always liked to do it.
Yeah.
Breakout Frank.
It's very consistent too. I didn't notice that, but it's very consistent in the amount of movement it has before it pauses. So yeah, that's a beauty.
Looking good, Frankie.
So we
got a couple breakouts in a row. Yeah,
a couple of breakouts, and I have more breakouts than pullbacks today myself, and I don't know about the rest of the crew because there are a lot of those flags or those flaggy type of patterns, right? That need a little. For me, I'm very particular. I always like when I have those, like Johnson Controls, JCI, for example, is one that I'm looking at. But I always like to see it work into the top of the channel, get pushed down and put in a higher low on the intraday, and then break that channel from there. So I'm pretty particular in how I like to trade those type of patterns. There's a lot of them out there, whether it's Johnson Control or somebody else. I mean, there are a ton of these deeper flag type of patterns. And they just are going to need, in my opinion, a little bit of work. They're trades that probably are like Tuesday or Wednesday trades as opposed to Monday trades for me. Mm-hmm. And I know some people like to just come in right when it breaks the trend line, if that's what happens. And I think that's a legit way to do it. I like to see kind of the reversal on the intraday and kind of see it put in that higher low and then break the resistance. But that's more of my preference, I guess, than anything else.
Well, and you're going to be able to have a take your pick kind of situation on many of these. And I do agree. I think the way that you have to decide when it comes down to it, whether you take one or the other, do you have a clear pathing to where your trigger is, right? That intraday trigger is always very helpful. Emily, you mentioned simple. I like going in on the intraday and saying, okay, where's my entry? Is it very clear to me? If I can get an intraday breakout, then I know my trigger is also going to confirm at that time. And then Frank, I actually don't mind on flags to play the old scale in trick.
Sure.
Where once you get the intraday, maybe you add half your position. And then if you can break the high, right, then you have the other half, so you can kind of plan your trade in many different ways and get creative with this stuff when you're looking at patterns like this.
For sure. Yeah. And I kind of go just the opposite way. I like to scale out at that first level of resistance on them. But scaling in and out, I mean, those things are, people, you know me, Tim, I say this a lot to a lot of people. They're not used as much as I think they should. We often get stuck in this day or go, yes or no type of area. And unless we have one contract or one share, we can scale in, we can scale out. And I think it's one of the strongest tools for traders that is underutilized, very broadly speaking.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone I talk to, I try to get them on board with scaling in, at least the idea of scaling in, scaling out. I'm much more of a scale out guy than a scale in guy, but that doesn't mean anything other than that's who I am, right?
But I like the mindset behind it. I'm with you. I think it's an underutilized principle. Adding to, taking away a position based on your trade planning. Absolutely.
So yeah, I think it
And
helps. Go
I
ahead,
think with
Greg.
these pullbacks, like these flag patterns, right, that we're seeing right here, I think it's really really beneficial to be legging into these kinds of things, because as you get that momentum going upwards, you're adding to that position. But if it starts to turn on you, which these things don't work out 100% of the time, you take a very, very small loss. But if it does start to go the way we want, just that 15-minute chart there, I identified a level here that I'd want to start a position right above that nice round number 60. But then you've got some overhead resistance around 69.50 there, or sorry, 60.50, I should say. You could enter, a second party position there, and then so on and so forth. Looking at the 6-month chart here, you probably got another level, right around 61, where you could go 3 levels in there, and by the time it got to your target at 65, you'd be pretty happy that it did. So yeah, I like the scale in bit, and this one on the 15-minute chart, as far as I'm concerned, looks fantastic. So
yeah, I agree.
Again, well done.
Nice. Yeah, and there's definitely characters out there that look like that. Johnson was not the only one that I found. I did find a Cody special on the weekly chart, but Cody is not here. But we can look at him anyway, and that's APA.
Last one.
Oh no, we'll give me 2 more. Give me 2 more. Yeah.
All right, 2 more.
Because you can't tell me last one. As I'm saying the symbol.
Yeah.
APA. Right. This is so Apache, this is who they were. They reorganized into a holding company, and that's why they're APA Corporation now. But this is the old Apache energy stock that we all have known and followed for quite some time. This is, if we're interested in this energy pullback, we've got options. There's plenty of them. I was kind of interested in APA because of its weekly. It basically is a Cody special snapback on the weekly chart. It has worked into the old support zone, or old the resistance zone is currently testing that as support. I wanted this candle because I think we are playing this one kind of on the weekly chart. At least that's kind of the fundamental basis for the trade. I want to see it take out this weekly candlestick high. Assuming we're able to hold this low, I would expect we can in, with little time is left in the market. Breaking above that high, just treating it like a Cody special instead of on a daily chart. It's just a snapback on the weekly on the retracement of the breakout point.
God, it makes it so smooth when you go to the weekly.
It does.
I like that.
Slowing momentum, beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Slowing momentum within the candles. Now, it's not there yet. You still have a red candle this week, obviously. You got to get confirmation. That's where you come back to the daily, the intraday, and you start mapping it out. But that trend on that weekly chart definitely reversal characteristics. And, let's call it like it is. I still believe in the reopening theme. It is the nature of markets right now. They're teaching a lot of beginners and veterans alike a lesson. We don't go straight up, Frank. A lot of people were a little bit pampered over the last 12 months during some of these stretches, right? And we're taking a little break the last few weeks, especially in energy, especially in reopening themes. There's been all kinds of news and narratives around rising yields and, COVID lockdowns, but then you got vaccine stuff. So you got headlines that are mixed. Reality is we're reopening the economy this year. People are going to travel more. They're going back to work. Energy is still a good play moving forward. These type of patterns, you got to be patient with them and get that technical clarity, Frank. But I love that weekly, and I think you just got to map it out from there. And maybe it is that $20 mark that you drew, Greg. I mean, I don't know. I haven't done the intraday yet, but somewhere in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you got a couple of spots here where you could jump in again. You could scale into something like this, and again, it's so healthy because if you put a part position on now and it fails, which it could, it's just hanging on to that 50, right? Mm-hmm. If it fails, okay, no harm, no foul. You've got maybe 1/5 of your normal position or 1/3 of your normal position. But if it starts to break these levels and get above these moving averages, geez, you'd have a heck of a run here. You'd have a $4 run here on an $18 stock. That'd be fantastic, right? And that would just be back to that old high there. Who knows if it breaks out beyond that. So yeah, this beauty, just a beauty setup. You can look at it the intraday, like I said, scale in a little bit. Get above this 200 period moving average intraday. Yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So seen a lot of this recently, so that's good.
Yeah, right. You're seeing a lot of that. One more. it just, I'm like a little kid and I'm going to throw a fit. No, no, I don't want to. All right, one more. Then I'll choose VIRT, Virtue Financial. Little high base breakout. They do have some old history, but nothing substantial, at least in my personal opinion, until the 37.50 ballpark. So there is room above us. Not saying that would necessarily be our target, but there is not a lot of resistance above us. I like that we've held up relative to the financial sector. I like that we're putting in a little bit of a, cup and handle. If we look at a shorter term time frame, like say an hourly type of a chart, it's going to look like a little bit of a cup and handle, just an easy high base breakout type of trade. If I see fast momentum coming back into the market or into the financial sector as a whole, I like the cleanliness. I like the straight lininess, right, of charts. And I think these guys kind of fit into that camp for me.
Now, would you wait till you get above this high there, Frank?
Let's see. Yeah, I think you need to. I would personally, yes. I think we would want to see it to take out that resistance level. For me, my breakout rules on high bases, I don't need to close. I just need to break it by a percentage of an ATR. That's with my regular breakouts, I do need to close. So I would just have my order, whatever my rule above that, resistance at 30.44, whatever that is. Just a cheap little, risk reward type of a play. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy here on these guys. We'd have a couple of options, either using today's low as a stop loss or the low of the base, depending on how much room we wanted to give it. So we'd have a few options that I think could make sense from a stop perspective.